Hey folks, this is Ben from Road to VR, and I'm here at the Sapient Nitro office in New York City. And I have Val with me here, who is today showing basically some of the virtual reality experiences that Sixth Sense are working on to bring VR to the retail space. And Val, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do with Sapient Nitro?
Absolutely. I'm an executive creative director, and I've been working in digital for about 15 years now, and I lead a team in Los Angeles that is very much dedicated to testing and learning around virtual reality and other new digital approaches.
And so virtual reality is something that's been around for a long time, but in the consumer space it's really just reigniting in the last few years. Did you explore this technology back 15 years ago, maybe when it was still, it was there, but just not quite at the level that it is today?
I personally did not. Early on in my career, I was actually really involved in Flash and multiplayer gaming, so more on the digital platform side. I really wasn't a gamer, and I think that's what's interesting about what's happening right now is that I see the confluence of all of these technologies and the hardware solutions moving forward, and even I am getting excited because now I know it isn't just about entertainment and gaming.
And so when did you guys catch on to kind of the latest wave?
I would say that in our office, it's been within the last year or so. What you'll see at Sapient Nitro is a history of sort of tinkering and playing, and then what happens is people get excited and there's enough mass that all of a sudden a client comes into the office and then they're like, wait, what is that guy doing? And so our gear is just sitting around, and it happens naturally. It hasn't been like a sales pitch kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that it's somewhat early on, you guys are just starting to explore this space, but what would you say are some of the really exciting use cases you see for technology that can basically transport somebody to somewhere, anywhere else?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really get excited about the space of toys. So that's one place where it seems very natural. If you think about a store like American Girl or a product like Lego, you can easily imagine how children and families can connect in virtual reality, how you could go to that tea party and be inside of the world of American Girl with a friend who lives in another country, for instance. The idea that it brings people together, or the potential for bringing people together, gets me very excited personally. And then when you think about hard goods or things like Lego, people are already building these whole new worlds, with that specific toy in their life right now. The idea of giving them the ability to also be in a place or space that is totally of their own imagination is, I think, just an incredible thought. I think that's amazing. The other thing that I think about is kind of a platform approach, right? So if you just go into basic shopping and you think about our behaviors today, right now I get an alert on my phone from Guilt at noon, and that makes me want to go in and look at a flash sale. I get excited, I may have pre-shopped. Imagine if virtual reality gives you the opportunity to, shop in a flash pop-up shop. I could be shopping, the latest Marc Jacobs line before anyone else in a space totally designed by Marc Jacobs. I could see, how he created what he created for that pop-up store and easily transact. So I get super excited about having that experience in real time in virtual reality and truly experiencing the brand.
And where do you see virtual reality technology as applied to this level of kind of commerce usage? Where does it actually happen? Is it in a store? Is it in the home?
I think we'll see both. I think eventually we will see people having, owning their own headsets. But I think the test and learn opportunities in many cases will be in store. So just in the way that you think about you might interact with a kiosk today in a Home Depot, why not test and learn with a prototype with VR? At holiday, for instance, you have a lot of families coming and shopping for different items in different places. Giving them the opportunity to try VR and experience brands in totally unusual ways, I think is a great opportunity for retailers. One thing that I think is important to note, though, is that we don't expect virtual reality commerce to supplant all of the other channels that exist today. We expect it to be a complementary channel. So as brands test and learn in retail with VR, we expect them to have new learnings that will help them merchandise and that will help them develop other experiences in other channels.
And going back to what you were saying about toys, it sounds like you're envisioning a space where the purchasing and playing is actually kind of a mixed experience. And that kind of falls sort of into the realm of augmented reality and these sorts of things. Is that where you see it going ultimately? I mean, if you think about Legos, you can go and see them in the store and you don't play with them until you take them home.
Right.
But if you can play with them before and say, what does this set look like, or what can I do with it, or even have that be an addition to the boxed product you just bought, seems like there's a lot of opportunity there. Is this something that kind of has the gears turning for you?
Definitely. I mean, I think our team has been thinking about loyalty for many years, and there are different ways to think about loyalty. You know, you want to experience things prior to buying them, which you just mentioned, but you also want to better understand the product you have in hand. So one of the things we've talked about is you have a tool that you've purchased, right, maybe from a Home Depot again, and you have it at home. Right now, you have to go through this giant list of paper printed instructions to try to determine what it is that your tool can do that you didn't use it for. So the idea that you could, you know, pop on the gear and check out different uses for that tool while you have it at home. It's not about getting you to purchase something, it's about getting you to experience that product or service in a better way. And it's more functional, and I like that too.
So you think that there are unique advantages to virtual reality that can't necessarily be had from a store or with what we have today?
I definitely do. I mean, I think for me, when I think about it as a creative person, I think about it as being a bridge between not only brick and mortar and e-commerce, but also a bridge between storytelling, that's pure push, and functional description, which is more dry. So I love the idea that as we work with our retail partners, we can develop a mesh of story and function to create delight and loyalty and new behaviors that retailers can learn from. I think that will be amazing.
And this is all really new technology and it's still developing, but where are you guys in kind of your phase of adoption? Is this still an exploratory thing?
It is exploratory, although we have been working on demos and prototypes ourselves, and what we expect very clearly to do is to work with one retail client this year and put a prototype of some kind into market.
And of course, today you're here showing off systems that 6 Sense are making to allow people to reach into experiences. Do you find that component, the hands in the experience component, to be advantageous over something like the Gear VR, which doesn't have that right now if you're mobile?
I'm really open to both, and I think it's very much about the problem that you're trying to solve. So I would say that we are super excited about the ability to put your hands into an experience because it's a normal human function. And I think that with VR, what we're trying to do is let people experience immersion as deeply as possible. I would say, though, that other retail clients may not need that level of an experience. So I think it just depends on the problem you're trying to solve and what sort of solution we want to come up with. But we feel that 6 Sense is the partner. They think collaboratively, they think about these use cases, and what they do is they move on the fly. So anything that I bring to 6 Sense as an idea, they literally work on it overnight, and the next day I see the change. And I think that's incredible. I mean, after being in digital for this many years and working very hard to build very large platforms, one of the things I'm very excited about is we can bring solutions to market and to clients much more quickly than you can with some of our other traditional methods.
I think it'll be interesting if we reach a point where you can shop for VR equipment in virtual reality. So for to check out the latest headsets and products, right?
I agree. I think it's very meta, but I do think it's true. So I fully expect this year in Verizon stores, AT&T stores, you know, anywhere where Samsung is trying to push the gear, I expect to see experiences that harken back to the product itself. Because it's a challenge to think about, you know, if we build things that are exciting enough, people will just want to do it, you know, as opposed to having to functionally describe why this helps you in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at a magazine and the best you have there are maybe pretty photos, but this is actually, it'd be like if you could tell someone we're going to teach you something by going on a roller coaster. Of course they'd want to do it, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, you see that even here off camera back here. Actually, we have people trying out virtual reality experiences, and for people who haven't tried it before, as they're walking by, they're going, what is that? What is going on? And you can kind of see it in their eye. They want to jump in there. It is a very approachable technology, and I think for brands that is super important. You talked about loyalty earlier. This is an opportunity for brands to completely immerse somebody in a space, whereas in a store, there is a bunch of competing products. Online, you could potentially have a potential customer go to your website and be completely immersed with all your products, right?
Yeah. Well, I will even say I am a big believer in online, but we know for a fact that people are 10% more likely to purchase a product if some sort of, immersive media is involved. So if there's a video, for instance. And if you take that to the next level and think about immersing yourself in the world of the product and really truly understanding how clothing fits on the body, my example has been about, yoga sportswear or running gear for women. There's a huge push right now. Under Armour, Nike, everyone is going after that market. And one space that no one has really explored to date is the idea of showing me exactly how that gear fits on a woman's body that looks like mine, and kind of being in a space with her. So it's not about me wearing the clothes in virtual reality, it's me really understanding how those clothes move and fit and what happens with the waistband. To me, that's 100 times better than just watching a video of a woman turn around online.
Yeah, and online shopping, of course, is this experience where if you're on Amazon and you're looking at a product, sometimes you actually see a photo of a product and it's not exactly what you end up getting. That's kind of frustrating. So you were talking earlier about bridging the gap between brick and mortar and the home experience or the online experience. This potentially gives people, I think, an opportunity to not only buy, but buy with more confidence, being able to look at the product from every angle and get there and see how does this laptop fit on my desk, etc.
I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the big pushes for our space from a digital perspective is what's happening on platforms. So YouTube and Facebook just adopted a 360, video viewing option, which I think is going to push the industry to think about 360 video differently. I think you'll see a lot of experimentation, not just in retail spaces, but in auto and all kinds of, probably real estate. And just the idea that you're going to get used to seeing things in 360 is going to push us all to think differently about the medium.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing what you guys end up doing with VR. It's certainly exciting, and it's an interesting approach because in the same way that you guys will be using virtual reality to help sell products, we're at this point in the world right now where where the majority of people have not tried virtual reality. So if they go into a store and they put on a headset to look at a product, they're also learning and trying virtual reality for the first time, which could be, it's kind of a synergistic thing there.
It's true, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that as a creative person, I'm very excited about that particular opportunity, and I like to think about that as a partnership and a journey, not just with our clients, but also with our customers. I mean, we have a responsibility to take them to places that are not only, beautiful and exciting and immersive, but places where they can learn about themselves and the world around them.
Great, Val. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.